Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. We're going to take a deep dive into understanding depressants and hallucinogens, exploring their effects, the risks involved, and the context in which they are used. This presentation will provide a comprehensive overview of how these substances impact the nervous system and behavior, as well as important safety considerations to keep in mind. I'm excited to guide you through this important and fascinating topic. Let's get started. Depressants are substances that slow down the central nervous system. This slowing effect leads to feelings of relaxation and sedation because they reduce brain activity. Essentially, depressants dampen neural function, which decreases arousal and awareness. You can think of them as agents that calm the mind and body by slowing everything down. On the other hand, hallucinogens work quite differently. They alter perception, mood, and how we think. These substances often cause hallucinations or sensory distortions, which means they change the way we experience the world around us. Hallucinogens affect the brain's processing of sensory inputs and emotions, leading to unique shifts in consciousness and unusual sensory experiences. So, while depressants slow things down, hallucinogens really change the way our brain interprets reality. Let's talk about some common depressants and how they affect us. First, alcohol is probably the most widely used depressant. It often creates a feeling of relaxation, but also impairs coordination, which is why activities like driving become dangerous when drinking. Then we have benzodiazepines, which are usually prescribed for conditions like anxiety and insomnia. These medications help by calming the mind, promoting sedation and relaxing muscles. Barbiturates are another class, though they're less commonly used nowadays. They tend to cause drowsiness and reduce anxiety, but carry higher risks compared to other options. Now, in terms of their effects, depressants generally induce relaxation and a calming sensation. They help reduce feelings of anxiety and tension, and often cause drowsiness or sedation. This explains why they are used therapeutically, but also why they can impair someone's alertness. On a deeper level, depressants work by slowing down brain activity. This slowdown affects motor function, making movements less coordinated, and also impairs decision-making. So while they might provide relief or calm, they also compromise how well the brain processes information and controls behavior. When it comes to depressants, there are several important risks to be aware of. First, they have a high addiction potential. Using them repeatedly can lead to dependence, making it difficult to stop without experiencing cravings. Along with addiction, tolerance can develop over time, meaning you'll need higher doses to achieve the same effect, which increases danger. One of the most serious risks is respiratory depression, where breathing slows down dangerously, and this can be life-threatening, especially in cases of overdose. Overdose itself is a major concern because depressants suppress vital functions like breathing and heart rate, which can result in fatal outcomes. If someone tries to quit suddenly, withdrawal symptoms can be severe, including anxiety, seizures, and tremors, which require immediate attention. That's why medical supervision is crucial when using these drugs, to ensure safe dosing and manage any complications effectively. On this slide, we'll look at some common hallucinogens and how they affect the mind and senses. First, we have LSD, which is well known for causing intense visual and auditory hallucinations, creating vivid, often surreal experiences. Then there's psilocybin, found in magic mushrooms, which primarily alters sensory perception and mood, sometimes leading to profound changes in how the world is experienced. PCP, on the other hand, produces dissociative effects, meaning it can make users feel detached from their surroundings or even their own body, along with distorting perception. The typical effects of these substances include heightened or altered senses, where colors might seem brighter or sounds more intense. Users often experience visual and auditory hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that aren't really there. Time and reality can feel warped, sometimes speeding up or slowing down. Emotions can shift dramatically, ranging from intense joy or euphoria to anxiety or fear, depending on the individual and the situation. All of these effects come from the way these drugs interfere with cognitive and sensory processes in the brain. They alter how we perceive our environment and process information, which is why the experiences can be so powerful and sometimes unpredictable. Understanding these impacts helps explain both the appeal and the risks associated with hallucinogens. Hallucinogens carry several significant risks that are important to understand. One of the most common concerns is the possibility of a bad trip, which involves intense fear, paranoia, or panic. These experiences can be very distressing. In some cases, psychological distress may persist even after the effects of the drug wear off, leading to longer-lasting mental health challenges. Another risk is flashbacks, where users unexpectedly re-experience hallucinations well after the initial use. Additionally, hallucinogens could potentially trigger underlying mental health disorders like psychosis, especially in vulnerable individuals. It's also important to note that the effects of these substances can be highly unpredictable, influenced by factors such as dose, environment, and individual sensitivity. Given all these risks, exercising caution and being aware of one's mental health history is crucial when considering the use of hallucinogens. When we look at the usage context of depressants and hallucinogens, it's important to consider several key areas. First, in medicine, benzodiazepines are commonly prescribed to help manage anxiety and sleep disorders. Meanwhile, research is increasingly exploring hallucinogens like psilocybin for innovative treatments in psychotherapy and depression, showing promising potential. On the other hand, recreational use is often aimed at achieving relaxation, euphoria, or perceptual changes for enjoyment. People seek these effects to temporarily alter their mood or experience. Culturally and spiritually, many societies have long used hallucinogens in rituals or spiritual ceremonies. These practices value the mind-altering effects for purposes of meaning, connection, and healing, highlighting a very different context from recreational or medical use. Finally, understanding the context of use is crucial. It helps us distinguish between therapeutic applications and misuse, which inform how we approach education, policy, and treatment. Recognizing these differences allows for a more nuanced and effective perspective on these substances. Let's review the key points about depressants and hallucinogens. Depressants work by slowing down brain activity, which often leads to a feeling of relaxation. On the other hand, hallucinogens change how we perceive the world and can alter cognition in unpredictable ways. Both types of substances come with significant risks. These include the potential for addiction, the danger of overdose, psychological distress, and reactions that can be hard to predict. To stay safe, it's important to avoid mixing different substances, as this can lead to dangerous interactions. Make sure you are well informed about the specific risks and effects before using any of these substances. Whenever possible, use them only under medical supervision. And if you or someone you know experiences negative effects or develops dependency, seeking professional help is crucial. Being responsible and aware helps minimize harm and supports making informed decisions.